your Comedy Minute. I'm Scotty T, and it is an honor to have Casey McNeal here today. Casey, I mean that. You're an actor, a comedian, speaker. You're an amazing guy. It's nice to have you here.
Hey, thanks a lot. It's nice to be here, buddy.
I'm telling you, when I started looking up, you did a thing this morning, and I commented, I'm doing my research now. I didn't know it would take me till 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Oh, come on.
No, you've done a lot of stuff. Let's start with you're in Boston, I think.
Yeah. I live in Boston. I live in Somerville, like right by Boston.
Okay, but you weren't born and raised there.
No. I was born and raised in Michigan, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. From the hicky redneck part of Michigan called Michigan.
Yeah. I, I was hoping you'd do that. That's one of my favorite bits. When did you start? Now, I know the answer to this, but for people that don't know you, when did you start doing comedy? And was there a catalyst? Was there something that said, go do comedy?
Yeah, there kind of was. It was uh fall of 1991.
Okay.
And I had been divorced for a little while,
Right.
not that long from my first wife.
Okay.
And I was seeing a girl that I kind of liked,
Right.
and she took me to a comedy show,
Okay.
and I loved it. I loved every minute of it, and I had that, I had one of those I could do that moments.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until I had meningitis. I actually had meningitis a couple times as an adult, and the second time I had it, I developed this weird stuttering problem. And so one thing led to another. I said, well, go do an open mic night. So I went and did one, and the rest is,
Yeah.
I did it to impress the girl, but I didn't have her come to that. I waited until I'd been booked a couple of times before I had
Okay.
her.
Well, as I said, we got a lot of stuff to cover. So you've been in some movies.
Yeah, about 20, I think.
Okay. Tell the people just, a little about that. How did that
Well,
come about?
you might recognize me from nothing, because I'm primarily I'm at the level of background actor, so I work
Okay.
a background acting a lot, and so I drive cab and 10 bar and wait on your
Okay.
favorite actors in your favorite movies. That's me
Okay.
waiting on them in the restaurant.
Well, now we can move on. You've been on television, Comedy Central, Tonight Show, Comedy Challenge, or something, right?
Yeah. I was 1992. I was in the Tonight Show Comedy Challenge. I was uh, privileged enough to be a finalist in that. And that
Yeah.
was the first year that Jay Leno, it's hard to think about the first year Jay Leno, but it was the first year Jay Leno did the Tonight Show.
Took over what? Took over for Johnny Carson.
Right. And so it was kind of a promotion because for
Okay.
him in his first year in there. So it
Right.
was one of those Tonight Show with Jay Leno comedy contest.
Okay.
And yeah, and I got a clip, I had a clip from the contest played on the show and that.
Well, and that ties into, and I watched it. I love it. You have an Amazon special called Highly Disordered.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh my gosh. Where to start?
You like that, huh?
Well, let me just say this. You're my kind of comic.
Oh, great, man.
I love what you do.
What did you like the most about that
Well,
special?
I'm not sure because I watched a lot of them. You have a thing about your neighbors. You don't like talking to the neighbors.
Oh, yeah. I don't like dealing with my neighbors, so I got the perfect solution to that. I just declared myself registered to all my neighbors, so it's pretty easy. I just went around the neighborhood knocking on doors saying, "Hey, this is me. My name's Casey. I live in that house right there on the corner, That's me right over there. I just wanted to go around the neighborhood and declare to everybody that I'm registered there." They go, "Hey, declare what?" And I said, "Okay, bye." Works pretty good. Those kids stay out of my driveway.
Yeah, right, right. Oh my God. What's your favorite bit out of the whole thing? Because I mean, there's so many. In other words, I was saving it, but I'll get into it since you want to do it.
Uh,
You talk about having OCD and ADD.
yeah, right. Yeah, I
Yeah,
have OC. I have obsessive compulsive disorder and attention deficit disorder combined.
you're right.
So, do you know how confusing it is to be perfectionistic and a quitter?
Right, right, right.
So That's one of the favorite bits from that, probably.
And I hate to do it, but I heard a joke like that. You probably heard it. Maybe you even wrote it about having OCD and ADD. Everything has to be perfect,
Yeah.
but only for a second.
Right? That's good. That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, I
All
like
the
that joke.
jokes is
I've always
yeah.
held on. I love that joke.
Yeah, there's a lot of good OCD jokes out there.
Yeah, yeah.
And
It's tough.
ADD
It's
jokes.
tough though because to be honest, I get and I it maybe it's partly about doing comedy or whatever, where you get something in your head and it's just damn hard to get it out of there.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
find that?
Yeah, because I actually ended up being doing the OCD and ADD thing as kind of a brand because when I did comedy for,
Right,
a few years when I started, and then I went into public speaking for like 20 years, and I did public speaking for 20 years, and then I
right.
came back to doing stand-up comedy in like 2017.
Yeah,
And
I apologize because we brushed over that you did it for a while and then you stopped.
yeah, yeah. I didn't really stop. I kind of I moved into public speaking. Okay, they say the difference between the difference between a stand-up comic and a public speaker, $3,500 an hour. So so I did keynotes on dealing with difficult people, and so they're funny
Right,
keynotes in that they're not exactly like corporates because it has a lot of jokes, a lot of humor, but it
right,
also has a couple of takeaways for people. And
right.
they pay $2,500 to $7,500 for that.
Yeah.
So I traveled all over the world doing it for 20 years.
Okay. All right.
Now, I know a lot of comics that have been, slugging it out at $100 shows for a long time, and they want to know how to be a public speaker. But I decided to come back to the small stage. I
Right.
still do the other thing, but to come back to do regular stand up. And when I did, I wasn't a dated '90s comic, but I was, because when I wrote in the '90s, but I always wrote bits that would survive the test of time. I was never, I was not a guy who to write a Clinton joke,
Right.
because
Right.
I'd rather write a
Well,
joke
and
about relationships or
do you
something.
mind if I just interject real quick? Because I
Yeah,
think I'm right about this. You actually opened for Sam Kinison and Mitch Hedberg and a lot of folks back. Was it in Utah? Is that right?
yeah, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yep, in Salt Lake City, Provo, Utah.
But I mean,
Actually,
either way, you opened for Sam Kinison and Mitch Hedberg and that kind of stuff. And that was when you first started doing it, right?
yeah, yeah, that's when I first started doing it in the '90s. I opened for Margaret Cho when she was
Okay.
just a young comic. She was in her young 20s, and
Okay.
it was kind of a funny story because in Utah there's a lot of Mormons, right? The good
Yeah.
news and bad news, the good news is, you're not gonna see a Mormon. Like, here's my impression of a Mormon heckler. Excuse me, you are somewhat less than we had anticipated. So you're not gonna have to worry about that. But at the same time, they're all
That's
sober.
funny.
Yeah, they're entirely sober. They're totally paying attention to everything that you say, and
Okay.
so they're I don't want to say they're tough audiences, but they're interesting audiences. But they like the clean stuff. Now, Margaret
Yeah.
Cho had just started doing that TV show about her Korean family.
Right. I know the bit. Yeah.
Yeah, so and it was all like, oh, haha, my family's so funny, right? So she used to, that's what they thought her stand-up was going to be like. So when she came to Provo, Utah, 30,000, Mormon kids tried to get tickets to see a show. So she packed out this theater. She had 300 people in the theater. First show of the night, she walked half the room in the first 12 minutes of her set. She was so upset. She was just a young comic. She was
Oh
so
my
upset
God.
because hadn't really experienced the thing. She had done her stand up in San Francisco, and
Right. Right. Right.
people knew what she was about. But
Right.
she traveled to go on the road, and then these people, they want her to go and do an hour of my mom's so funny, right?
Well, and that's funny because you're segueing into because you've done comedy all over the U.S., right?
Yep, yep.
And do you feel, I just had a friend of yours on yesterday that we were talking about whether you're playing one place or another place, that you adjust what you're doing. Like, in other words,
Oh
I've
yeah.
had some comedians come on and talk about at a college, when you're playing to a younger crowd, you got to do a little different material.
Oh yeah. I mean, clearly, I'm definitely in that situation now. Where there wasn't that much differential in the 90s. You were a comic or you weren't a comic. You weren't an old comic or a female comic or what,
Yeah.
really. I don't remember. As a matter of fact, I shouldn't say that. I was going to say I don't remember all the talk about female comics this and that back in the 90s. They were fucking great. You wanted them.
Yeah.
Wanted to have anyway. I don't
Anybody
know.
that made me laugh. I just liked anybody that made me laugh.
Yeah, right. So what was I talking about when I started on this
You
ADHD?
think I remember?
Oh, okay. Right. Let's see. I don't remember what I
Hey,
said.
let's go ride bikes.
Hmm, that's right. A squirrel. Uh,
Look, squirrel.
yeah, right. I don't remember why I started.
No, just we were talking about, the early days and where, your memories of it, good shows, bad shows.
Oh, we
Uh,
said, adjusting for the audience.
right,
Here in Boston, I definitely adjust because I do a lot of saloon comedy now. So it's in a lot of bars. And if you're in a bar and half the bar doesn't expect comedy to be there, and the other half the bar is there for comedy, or it's late at night, or the crowd
right,
is under 25, I've been up in this Lincoln Lodge, not the Lincoln Lodge in Chicago, but this Lincoln Lodge in uh, Portland.
right.
Not a soul in the room was married. Not a soul in the room was
Not
over
one.
25. Not a
Okay.
soul in the room had a child. So it's like, a lot of the stuff, I don't have any pegging jokes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, but so you really have to make shit work, So
Oh
got to
man.
you got to adjust things. And so I got to do shorter bits. I got to shorten I don't want to say shorten the bits down. I have to put more pauses in the bits. I have to be a lot slower in rolling them out.
Why
And
don't you just say it? Why don't you just say it?
well,
You got to dumb it down.
I do. I got it, and I can't do that many callbacks and stuff because they aren't following it. They're not. You can't do. I can't do a lot of
Dude,
clever shit.
kids today have the attention span of a
Yeah.
about 20
So
seconds.
like I'm gonna be at the Comedy Studio tonight, and
Right.
that's a club. It's a comedy club known to be a comedy club known kind of for alternative comedy or whatever.
Yeah.
People will follow your clever shit, man. They will follow it
Yeah.
all the
Right.
way.
Right. Well, you were again, you remind me of what I grew up on. And again, I'm 62, okay? So I grew up and I met Dangerfield, and I grew up on Henny Youngman and Archie Bunker. Oh, Jesus, Derry.
Jackie
I grew
Mason.
up, let me tell you there, meathead, and it's changed so much. And I'm gonna roll over into you were just on, I watched it today, some of it, and want to do two things with this: the Real or No Reels podcast
Oh, yeah.
with Mr. Rue and Tommy Wires, and you're on with another young lady who's just brilliant.
Yeah, Stacy Kendro.
Yeah, and I'd love to have her on the show if she wants to come on at some point.
Oh, I'll tell her.
But what my takeaway from that was what we were just getting into a little bit. You mentioned about Instagram and how many followers you have, and comedy has changed. I don't, from again, when I remember Sam Kinison and I remember comedians, it didn't matter. It just if you were funny, Now bringer shows and stuff that I just can't believe what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I mean, every there's a lot of arguments to say everything's a bringer show, at the end of the day, because when you're a
Yeah,
comic,
yeah, I've heard that
your
too.
purpose is to draw. But at the same time, it's not it's not true everywhere because I play a lot of clubs that they sell the club, not the comic. So
Yeah,
in other words, so they fill every show. Nobody, you don't. you don't even know who the comics are
Right.
sometimes, but they feel like because they're selling the room, as opposed
Yeah.
to the comic. But back in the old days, you had everybody had a path. You were a stand-up comic trying to get jobs in acting. If you might be lucky enough to drop the sitcom gig or whatever,
Okay.
that was the jackpot thing.
Okay.
But very few comics didn't consider acting as something because it got your name out there and all that because it was long before any of the social media shit. So now it's about
Social.
drawing.
Hey, for
It's
you
dra-
kids, gay know social media shit.
that's right, social media shit.
I'm
And
with you.
so
I'm with you, brother.
yeah, so like you might have caught on to that thing. I don't know if I was talking about this that I listened to as an OCD guy. I listened to this video of a YouTube video of a box fan. It's just a box fan that plays for 9 hours. That's all it is. 15 million views.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so it's
It's a
like
box fan. It's just a box fan.
right to be like, oh well,
And then Tommy went into he's watched something.
yeah, was it? Yeah, did you see Casey Special got 100,000 views? Well, he's no box fan. That's And now AI is making it worse than that because,
Right.
I see this reels that are created by AI.
You just posted that. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, oh, it's like a shark with a monkey head. Oh, is it real? Who can know?
Who
Right,
could
20
know?
million fucking views after like 3 hours. Like what? We worked for years. We worked for forever on a bit. We worked for days to record it or whatever. It's like,
Meanwhile, a box fan and a shark with a monkey heads.
yeah, right. It used to be like you could joke about cat videos doing better, but now every freaking thing. It's,
Well, you
it's
know
like I
what
gotta put.
though?
It's like I gotta put a little dog. It's like I considered putting my dog in every one of the
Yeah,
videos
yeah,
I
yeah. There
post
you go.
because that'll probably make a difference.
Right. Well, I want to get back to, and I don't want to miss it, but I want to get back to it. But just on that note, I've been doing this. I got fired from my job for telling jokes, and I started
Mm,
your comedy minute 4.5, 5 years ago, coming up on 5 years. And I used to really be caught up in the numbers, Casey. I used to be, oh my God, Now, Casey, I don't give a shit.
yeah,
Pardon my French, but fuck
that's
them.
that's probably the
Fuck
way.
them.
Probably how
Fuck
it'll be
YouTube.
successful.
Fuck Instagram. Fuck. I've never done TikTok and never will. I don't give a shit if it goes away. As far as X, now Blue Sky, it's just different.
I don't
It's
have a Blue Sky account.
no,
Jesus
it's
Christ.
it's such bullshit. I mean, I just don't. I mean, I do. I post a joke every day and I throw them up, but I don't give a shit anymore. I stopped caring
Yeah, yeah,
because I've been screwed over so many times where one joke goes to 108,000, the
right.
other one goes to 350,000. Meanwhile, over on YouTube, it goes to eight.
Yeah,
I
my
I
my
love I
favorite
love.
joke
They
gets
must think
154 views.
here's the kind of shit that pisses me off, and they must think we're just fucking dumb as hell. I have 12,000, around 12,000 subscribers on YouTube, and I'll put a short up there, and it'll sit there for 6 hours with one view. And something about that just doesn't seem correct to me.
Yeah, right.
you know, hey, somebody, the abacus is fucked. Somebody fix the counter's broken.
Yeah, right, right.
Yeah, I don't know who's running, but I want to get back to because I think this is really cool. You host the KO comedy. It's a Zoom thing. Tell the folks about that if you don't mind.
Yeah, KO Comedy was started by Samuel B and Kabir, who
Who just passed away.
yeah, unfortunately. I didn't know the man. I worked with him once, but I never knew
Right.
the guy. And it's a virtual club on Comedy Hub for Twitch, and they have Zoom shows every night of the week on this place. And it
Okay.
started, of course, during the pandemic, like so many of the Zoom kind of stuff did. But their Zoom shows are really popular. Sammy OB does it like an hour on there, almost every other week, every third week. He does
Okay.
a new hour on there, and they have different kinds of shows and like shows that are sort of game shows and shows that have parties and after parties and
Right.
that sort of thing. which are a lot of fun. So I host on Sunday nights. I usually take about a 12-week block, and then I take a couple, I take some time off. But I host on Sunday nights, 10 o'clock Eastern, KO Comedy. We have about 40 people on 40, 50 on Twitch and about 30 on Zoom every day. So it's about, we have about 80, about
Yeah.
250 or 300 watch the stream in its first, 24 hours. But I try to get I have
Yeah,
some
no,
pretty good comics in curated.
what I'm going to do, Casey, and you probably already know this. I will put the links
Hmm.
to your Facebook, to your Instagram, to everything. And I got to tell you, I don't think I've ever met anybody that's more on it than you on the social media stuff.
Oh, well, yeah. Thanks, man.
Do you do it yourself, or do you have somebody helps you out with it?
No, I do it all myself. I'm just,
It's amazing.
I'm
That's
just clamoring to
amazing.
figure out how, I'm so old man clamoring to figure out how everything,
Oh, brother,
who
you're
knew I had to
preaching.
run a media empire in my 60s?
Well, I can relate, and hopefully you'll relate to this because I don't like my eyes are so bad doing shit on my phone. And on Instagram, it's like the only way you can do it. And I just recently figured out somebody would take one of my things and post, and there would be word. Wow, I can put words on there.
Yeah, right.
Wow, wow, how do I do that? Or the stories. I love the stories. Go ahead, do it.
Yeah,
Do it.
yeah. You just gotta get into it, man. You gotta do it.
You're amazing. You're amazing. Do you enjoy doing the reels and that kind of thing?
No, no, I don't. Like as it is, I'm really not that I'm not that creative. The really good people are the ones who are, inventing little shorts and shit like that to
Yeah, I
do.
don't do any of that.
I just cut stuff out of my
Yeah,
stand-up clips
right, right.
and I take throwaway jokes from sets,
Okay.
that are out there. And I, it's hard enough for me to find something that's under 45 seconds or under a minute. And now you can be a lot longer. When I first started cutting things up, you had to make it fucking less than 30 seconds
Oh
and shit.
yeah, no, on stories it's still that you have the 30 seconds, and on Instagram it's a minute and a half, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
And that's
cut
it's
when
hard.
I try and do the your comedy minute part at the end. A lot of times I have to cut and cut and cut to try and get it down to a minute and a half or something for Instagram.
Right. Right. I bet.
Yeah. But I wanted to also there was one other thing I wanted to mention if I can remember it, and that OCD's kicking in.
Hmm.
Um, you mentioned that you don't like doing the Instagram, TikTok, any of that stuff. When you go live now, you do shows live. Is that a lot different than like now where I'm looking at the camera? Do you find it harder?
Oh yeah, it's a lot different. Doing Zoom shows. I did it because I did one of the Boston comedy festivals as a
Right,
Zoom
right, right.
during the pandemic. And uh I actually got coached by Barb Holiday from Flappers in
Okay,
California, who coached us on doing Zoom shows and how to do them
okay.
right and that sort of thing. At the time, it was you had to be waist up and all this kind of shit. And so I was learning how to do it, but um I have bits, for example, that involve like that OCD bit that I do that where I say I have obsessive compulsive disorder and I say, "Oh, do you know what that is? Do you know I
Yeah,
can't
right.
do that. I can't
Oh,
do that
yeah,
on
right,
Zoom."
right, right.
But at the same time, on Zoom, I can mug for the camera and do shit that I can't
Okay,
make work the same way live. And so
right,
I have discovered how to work it as a entirely different kind
right,
of
right,
medium.
right. Well, your acting skills come into play there. And I just want to mention this. I remember my brain kicked back in for a second because on Facebook you're posting, I think, murder mystery things
Yeah.
you're doing. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm a member of the American Immersion Theater, and we do murder mystery shows. There's a public show that happens, and this company is all over the country. So I'm part of the Boston troupe,
Right.
and but there's guys in New York that fill a 300 seat theater like 4 times a day doing them.
Yeah. So do you enjoy doing that?
Oh, I love it. I
Yeah.
absolutely love it because there's like six plays, there's like six different plays to learn and about six characters a play. So there's a lot of
Okay.
lot of dialogue and stuff to learn in that. It's a lot of fun.
Well, I want to do one last thing that I've written down here, and this is wild. Last week you were doing gigs for the Navy, right?
Yeah, uh-huh.
And you were in Pennsylvania,
Right.
and I'm located in Pennsylvania.
Hey.
You were like a half hour from me, and you were
Oh,
posting about you
oh, Mechanicsburg. Yeah, man.
enjoyed your time in Mechanicsburg.
Yeah. Oh, I actually go there. I go there a couple times a year and Newport a couple times a year.
Okay.
They
No,
love me
I
there.
didn't know
Navy
that. I was
Supply.
kind of shocked.
Yeah, they know they love me at Navy Supply. Navy Supply School.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's where I go.
Yeah. And was that, do you enjoy doing those?
Oh, I love it. Love it. Pays a
Yeah.
lot more money.
Okay.
So I like
Well,
it's good.
we're getting around to that point where you're going to do your comedy minute for me. I hope. I
Yeah,
pray.
yeah.
But before we do that, I want to make sure, and first and foremost, thank you for
My
being here.
pleasure.
I hope you had a wonderful time.
Heck yeah, man. This is
Okay,
fun.
cool. Now, what I want to do before we get to your comedy minute, I want to make sure that you tell everybody. I think we covered a lot. I don't know if we covered everything. So anything we missed and what you got coming up, because you work a lot, man. You're all over the place.
Well, I'm at the Comedy Studio tonight and tomorrow. That's the 13th and 14th. And I'm at the Somerville Theater on the 19th with
Right.
Alex G and Papa. And that's going to be fun. Um, I'm in Robert Pattinson and Zendaya movie. I don't know if they just filmed it not long ago.
Are you serious?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
No
so,
lie.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's an interesting character, Robert Pattinson, because I
No,
worked with her
I mean,
before. But
elaborate on that. We got time. Go ahead.
well, I'm not. It's not a big part. I'm in a scene in a scene in a museum where I encounter him and do. I'm again. It's one of these telephone call for Mr. Herman. Mr. Herman, telephone call. But it's the
Hey,
same kind of thing. But
it's still cool as heck, man.
yeah. So there's that. It's
I
called
mean,
it's called the drama.
you just dropped Robert Pattinson and then Zendaya. I mean, you don't get bigger than that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I don't know. I did a Netflix. I did that Netflix, The Perfect Couple, and that was with Liv Schreiber and Nicole Kidman and Dakota Fanning. I
Oh
was in a
wow.
scene with all of them. I was the cab driver in
Do
a
you
scene with
do
like
you
all of
get
them.
do you get now? And I maybe it's just me, but like I had George Wallace on the show,
Oh, great
and
guy.
I was scared as hell.
Great guy. He has one of my favorite jokes.
Go ahead, do it.
People say, "Hey, warm enough for you or hot enough for you?" He says, "Oh, can you make it hotter just for me?" That's a George Wallace joke. Okay, so
um,
anyway, go on.
but no, I mean, I just get nervous as hell. And not just him. I had Vanessa Hollingshead. I had Carol Montgomery. I've had, and maybe it's just me because, again, I have to do, I don't want to say I have to do the heavy lifting, but I certainly could look like an asshole pretty easily, which
Yeah,
I don't want. So,
yeah, yeah.
and I try to make the guest have a good time. But my getting long winded to ask you, do you ever feel like a fish out of water when you're in that environment?
In the no, I feel like a fish in water because I was an actor first before I was a comic.
Oh, all right. Okay. Okay.
When I was a teenager, I acted in plays and I always wanted to be an actor. And part of
Okay.
my ambitions in starting comedy was that, comedians always got called for auditions. They
Okay.
always called me if they call. I got a lot more casting calls because I was a comic.
Okay. Well, very cool, man. I really enjoyed my time with you. I hope you enjoyed your visit.
Heck yeah, man. It was a lot of fun.
Okay, and look, I tell this to everyone. We'll catch back up in a few months. We'll see what you got doing.
Hey, that'll
Hey,
be
and one
fine.
other quick note before you do your comedy minute. I just want to pay homage to Mr. Rue, Tommy Wires, everybody up there because I can't get over how nice everybody treats one another. Like you go on the Real or No Reels podcast and just the fellowship. That's really cool.
Yeah, man. They're great guys. They're great guys.
Yeah.
They're also hosting a show now, the Lucky Strike in Somerville. I'm doing that in a couple
Okay, yeah. Mr. Rue said, he's been like a mentor to me. You help him out, and I just think you're great. I think you're
Hey,
wonderful.
well, thanks a lot, man.
Well, let
Thanks.
me do a formal introduction, and you lay him that you kill him. Okay, I want you to
All
kill him.
right. All right.
All right, Casey McNeil, your comedy minute. Go ahead, my friend.
Well, I say a lot of people doing road stories and that when I looked at a couple of these in the past, and I suppose I have one. I was really late at night, come on the road, off the road into the hotel. I was
Right?
exhausted. I went into my room. It was about 1 in the morning, and I just took my clothes off, down in my underwear, threw my glasses off, fell on the bed, and went to sleep for about 2 or 3, 4 hours. It was probably about 5:30 a.m. maybe when I woke up, and I had to go to the bathroom. That's a unique phenomenon that happens to men sometimes in the morning where your bladder touches your sacral nerve, yes, and it gives you a morning wood, right? The
Right.
erection. So I said, "Oh, geez, I got to go to the bathroom." I got up and I staggered around the room in the dark. I found the door. I opened it up, and when I said this bathroom is brighter than I don't remember leaving the light on.
Oh no.
Just then, I heard the door close behind me. I was actually walked out into the hallway. So now I'm in the hallway in my underwear with an erection, and it's like, I'm looking around, but I can't see shit. I'm looking around. I see this gaggle of women coming toward me that have like uniforms on. So these must be the maids, right? So I can get in my room. No, it wasn't the maids. It was the seventh grade volleyball team from Idaho Falls
Oh
on their
no.
way to the big game, right? So I first encountered this. Hey, I don't know. So, that's a little bit awkward. So I moved around, shuffled around looking for the maid. And then a maid comes and I try to explain to her I need to get in my room. She won't let me in there, but she's going to go get security. So now I'm sitting there waiting naked, in the room, in the hallway. Security comes up finally to let me in the room, opens the door, lets me in, walks away. It wasn't my room. Somehow I had gotten to a different room when I walked out into the hallway. When the security guy came up, I was standing in front of a different door. So he opened that door and let me in, and it wasn't an empty room.
Yeah,
There were
no.
people in there. So I ended up running out of the room down to the front desk with a towel that I grabbed from their room.
That's
While
wild.
they're calling the front desk about me, I'm telling
Yeah.
you, I will never do that again at a Best Western because I am banished in 7 states. Okay, so that's my story.
That you know what, and I'm going to stop the recording here in a second. But I used to work for RCA Records. I worked in the music business, and I was in Charlotte. I'll never forget. And like you, I'm tired. I just want to go up, get in my room. They give me a key, and I go up and I open the door, and there's a guy. He's pounding the bottom out of a girl, and I leave. And by the time I got to the front desk, they were already calling, who in the
Right,
fuck just came in
right,
our room?
right, right.
They sent me up to another room, same scenario. It was just there was a suitcase. When I went down third time, I said, "You're coming with me, motherfucker. You're coming with me." Yeah, no, and finally I did get a room, but it was 3 tries. And the first time I walked in and a guy knocking the bottom out of a girl.
That's funny.
Let me stop the recording. Hang in there a second.
All right, man.
Thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure, buddy.
It was a great time.